It's in the morning when the rooster has not had a chance to crow. That is the best time for me to get up. Moments before, I had been lying in bed, awake and unable to sleep. Finally, I grow tired and weary of sleep, my long-lost cousin. Then I rise and go to the kitchen to boil liquid that will warm up my tummy. Good day to you, friends. Good day to you, artist friends. Today, you will get to see the beginning of my creative process. But before I begin, I want to say Happy Workers' Day. You all deserve the respect, and remember to pat yourself on the back at the end of each day, because no one will if you don't do it. You are a human first of all, and you deserve to be honored for all the efforts you make, whether big or small. Quick story. When I first started working on my own online, teaching youngsters, I always felt that the next day would be the best. I would work better and I would make 5, 6, and 7 changes to the classes I was teaching. While it's great to take feedbacks both from managers or your friends and peers, it's important to remember that you're not just a machine, you're not a robot without any feelings or emotions, and that you need to sit and reflect all the goodness you have done, because you may be lacking in one area or the other, but you bring a unique twist to the way you do your work or business. One of the other ways I like to do this, not just with myself, but even with my daughter, is to bring in affirmations. And so here's a little gift I want you to ruminate on from Trent Shelton's book, Protect Your Peace. Oh my gosh, he hits right home. Right? More often than not, we often tie our worth to our jobs and titles. But the truth of the matter is that you're worthy just as you are, and you have to come to accept yourself as who you are, truly. That's Trent Shelton. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about my previous collection, because it does kind of tie into what I'll be creating now. And yeah, so talking about uniqueness, I wanted to show you the real deal. The artist is in progress. I find that as an artist, we're constantly reiterating. Okay, I use a big fancy word there, but basically you're just going back in, trying to do something again and again, right? Look at it from a different perspective, changing different elements to see if you can get to the ideal image that you have in mind. And so it's never so straightforward. I think sometimes we think to ourselves that we have this perfect, straightforward process, and that just is not the reality, right? And so I just want to keep it real with you that this collection here actually did not sit well with me. And of course, at that time, I didn't want to obsess over what didn't go well, or sometimes you just have to step away. One of the best things that you can do to yourself is step away from the collection, work on something else, and then come back to it. But I think at this point, I was interested in knowing how well I'll be able to use the paint when I first did that Halloween collection with the skulls and the cats. This was really my first time back after exploring digital art for the longest time, or for what seems like an entire year. I do have to say, painting can be really hard. Honestly, it's... People think that you're just going in there and creating a quick little picture, but it's quite hard. I feel at some point I would like to create some kind of a guide for myself in relation to painting. Another thing when working on a collection or when you're creating is to show some kindness to yourself. Have some mercy on yourself. Art is a process, and I think it's sometimes easy to forget that when you see some brilliant piece of artwork out there on the media, and then you start to think that you can never get there or you could never do that. The real thing, or the reality, is that that person probably had to do hours and hours, maybe even years, to get to that point, get to that level, right? So we can't sit and compare and, decide that you can never be an artist just based on what you've seen out there. Unless, of course, the other thing actually is to give yourself some time, give yourself the space where you can really explore and experiment. I think it's I think this leads me into the other thing that sometimes we think that we should only stick to the style. And I totally disagree with this. Sticking to your style is great, but I think there should always be that experimenting component. Yeah, I think it's just hard to stay static, to stay at the same place and not to evolve as an artist. Yeah. So now here I am pulling the pieces together. I've had this obsession with shells and florals and the human form, but allowing these ideas to trickle in without a filter, without a closed lens has, been the ultimate blessing. I think it is really okay to allow for a genuine exploration of ideas. I like the process of even writing down the phrases beneath a theme or an idea that pops up in mind as well. I do have varied interests, and I think it's great to mesh together your varied interests and marry them into something interesting. And for me, some clear themes make themselves evident, such as femininity, my identity or origins, storytelling, and of course the subject matter ranging from nature to human forms. Then of course comes my first love of sketching, and more sketching. Honestly, I can't emphasize this any more than now, and probably always. Firstly, it's low pressure, and who doesn't love to start with low pressure? I do the same thing too. I start testing out the colors that I want to use with the paint or with the colorway that I have chosen. And so guys, I actually did a video on the color palette that I'm actually using for this specific collection, so be sure to check that out. I will link that. Let me know what you think of the color swatch choices if you get a chance, but really excited to see how this will evolve to being the painted image, the discovery. Oh man, I am excited for that. Feel free to drop a comment below sharing how you start your collection.